newsmakers.
Citi News.
It's midday. A very good afternoon to you and welcome to the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are live from our studios at number 11 Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. The news is also live on all our affiliates across the country and around the world. We are live on citinewsroom.com. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa, and this afternoon I'm here with
Kweku Ediamansa.
Coming up, security intensified in Kumewu in the Ashanti region as voting continues in over 70 polling stations across the constituency. Meanwhile, the NDC has raised concerns about some already signed pink sheet by agents of the parties contesting in the ongoing by-election.
The poll has just started. We are not done with the polls. We've not closed elections. We have not sorted. We have not counted. How come that agents have already signed that we are okay with the election, which has not yet ended?
Also coming up, power restored to the St. Anne's Hospital at Damongo in the Savannah region following an intervention by the Member of Parliament. Still ahead, some aggrieved former MMDCEs to picket at the Jubilee House on May 30 over non-payment of their benefits and other entitlements.
Your Excellency, as MMDCEs who served you faithfully and worked tirelessly to ensure your re-election to continue to govern the country, have not yet been paid our ex-gratia.
And later, Ho Teaching Hospital in the Volta region dispels spiritual beliefs about neonatal jaundice and urges early treatment following an increase in reported cases.
Here in Volta region, newborn jaundice forms about a quarter of admissions of all children below the age of 28 days. And then, of course, it is associated with a lot of diseases, a lot of complications.
All that and more on Citi Prime News, which is live on all our partner stations across the 16 regions of the country. In the Western region, we are live on Ajunpa 100.7 FM in Takwa, Beach FM 105.5 in Takrady. Bono region, we are live on Greener FM 95.9 in Sunyani. Ashanti region, Ajunpa 99.9 in Nkaria. Volta region, we are live on Heritage FM 107.3 in Hohoi, Freedom FM 88.1 in Sogakope, Northern region, Radio Gaki 88.3 in Saboba. Upper East, we are live on Quality FM 88.7 in Garu, and Northeast region, we are listening to us on Nobia FM 98.1 in Nalerigo.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Grateful for choosing us. The National Democratic Congress, NDC, is warning all party agents in the ongoing by-election in the Kumewu constituency not to sign pink sheet until voting ends. The party gave the warning after the NDC claimed that it had detected some pink sheets being used for the elections have already been signed, even though voting is still underway. Speaking to Citi News, a member of the NDC monetary team and a former DCE for Asokore Mampo, Nuruddin Hamidan, says the Electoral Commission must ensure that no pink sheet already signed is used in the election.
And knowing that this place is our stronghold, and from what I'm hearing, that the MPP are trying to suppress our vote, I told the coordinators that I and my team were going to be here throughout the day. Lo and behold, when the poll started, I tried to find out what is happening. We have 3 polling stations here. NDC win 2 and MPP win 1. All the time, anytime we have elections. So I actually came around to find out what is happening. You know, when you come and they tell you everything is going on well, you have to open your eyes. So looking at the materials, I realized that the pink sheet, which is the declaration side of the pink sheet, has been signed and endorsed by the MPP polling agent and the NDC polling agent. then I'm kind of surprised, because the declaration is to declare that the sorting was done, collation was done, and the numbers on the sheet are right and good. That is the reason for signing the declaration form. But the pool has just started. We are not done with the pools. We've not closed elections. We have not sorted. We have not counted. How come that agents have already signed that we are okay with the election, which has not yet ended? So I told the presiding officer, this cannot be right. It has to be changed. He agreed with me. In fact, he confessed that it was a mistake. As for this mistake, dear, it's not something that we can let it go. So he rewrites. He actually wrote the names again, saying that when they are done, they will sign. I said, no, cancel the first one first. But later on, we demanded a fresh pink sheet. So we called the regional director. Let me thank him very well. He actually listened to us and he said that it's a good call. So as I'm talking to you now, they have brought a new pink sheet to replace the old one.
That was a former MC for Asokore Mampo in the Ashanti Regional, Haji Nuruddin Hamidan. Let's go live to Kumewu and speak to our Ashanti Regional correspondent, Hafiz Tijani. Good afternoon to you, Hafiz. Many thanks for your time. Where exactly does this concern the NDC is raising about already signed pink sheets? Where exactly did it happen?
So it happened at the Oyoko Methodist polling center here in the Kumewu constituency.
So what led to this pink sheet being already signed by parties in this election?
So according to the NDC and the voice she just played, a member of the monitoring team, he was called, or they were called by one of the agents here. You know, the NDC has assigned 2 polling agents here at this center. So they were called by one of the agents that they were made to sign on the declaration form, and they do not understand why the presiding officer here made them to sign. So that informed their decision to come to this place. So when they came, they reached out to the Electoral Commission, the presiding officer, and asked him why he made the agents to sign when the voting process has not ended. So he said it was a mistake, and the NDC insisted that they have to change it since it's a mistake. So later on, we saw some MPP leadership or members of the MPP monitoring team also coming in to listen to the concern. But the MPP didn't have much of a problem. But the NDC was insisting that the pink sheet must be changed since it was signed. So the former MC for Asokore Mampo, who raised this concern and who we spoke to, then called the Ashanti Regional Director of the Electoral Commission to inform him about what has gone on. Then the Electoral Commission boss also called the presiding officer here, who also explained why they made the agents to sign. Then the NDC still insisted that the Electoral Commission director should let his presiding officer change the pink sheet so that they can move on with the process. So that was done, and they brought in new pink sheets, and they replaced with this one, and the one that was signed was taken away. So that was resolved, and the NDC changed their candidates, their polling agents here at the center. So that issue has been resolved by the Electoral Commission.
Very well. Talking about polling agents, we have seen some members of parliament being used as polling agents. Have you spotted any member of parliament in Kumewu?
Yes, we have also seen pictures that have gone viral of member of parliament, Mr. Kojeto Ablakwa, who was part of the polling process, who was taking part actively in the polling process. But apart from him, we have not seen any other member of parliament, except that the executives of the MPP and the executives of the NDC are going around the polling centers and monitoring the process. Here at the polling center, I have seen the national organizer of the NPP. I've also seen the former member of parliament for Akotia, Baba Jamal, who also came here to monitor the process. I've seen Betty Mode Idrisu, former Attorney General. I've seen Alex Mode, who is a former GMPC boss. They have all come here, and you go to other polling centers, you find other big wigs of both political parties, especially the major ones, going around to monitor the process. So when they come or when they visit each polling center, they go and interact with the Electoral Commission officials, both of them, I mean, and also interact with their respective agents to find out from them what concerns were there, and that's how the party can resolve the issue. So far, that is what you find the party monitoring team, various party monitoring teams are doing at the various centers they are visiting.
Have you seen the candidate? I mean, the two independent candidates who are contesting this seat as well, especially one of the Kokudias who the EC had to change his logo.
Well, they have their agents monitoring the process at the various centers, but you don't find them, the candidates themselves around the polling centers. The party, especially the NDC and the MPP, have taken over the monitoring. So you are not seeing the candidates actively involved in this process, but you are seeing the party executives, former government appointees and current government appointees who are doing the monitoring. And for the independent candidates, they also have their polling agents across all the centers we have visited, and they are also actively taking part in the process. And for the independent candidates, I have seen some individuals who told me they came from Accra to support the first Kokudia who submitted his nomination on the during the nomination of the EC or during the nomination process. So that is what we find when you go to some of these centers, Hawa.
But generally, how has the voting been so far? It's been a little over 5 hours since voting started.
Well, in the morning, at some of the areas, you find that people were turning up to vote as early and go and continue with their daily activities. But the numbers have slowed down at most of the polling centers now. Here at the Oyoko polling center, the process is slow. The officers are seated, and voters don't come so much. They come in one after the other, but they don't come in their numbers as we saw at some of the centers in the morning. But you don't find some of these agents coming or some of these voters coming in. I'm trying to get the General Secretary of the MPP, Justin Kodia. You are welcome to CTFM on the City Prime News, Mr. Kodia. You have been monitoring the process. Your impression so far?
So far, so good. It's very peaceful, and I will commend the Electoral Commission and the Ghana Police Service for what they've done.
Hello, Hafiz. Unfortunately, we have lost my colleague in the Ashanti region, Hafiz Tijani. We try and reconnect the lines and then speak to him as he was trying to have a conversation with the NPP General Secretary, Justin Kodia Frimpong. As and when we get my colleague Hafiz on the line, we'll put him back. Now, the news is that security has been intensified in Kumewu as voting continues in over 70 polling stations across that constituency. Now, the NDC has raised concerns about some already signed pink sheets by agents of the parties contesting the ongoing elections. We understand the EC was able to resolve that concerns, and at the Oyoko Methodist polling station where that incident occurred, we understand that voting is currently underway as that issue which occurred earlier in the morning has been addressed by the Electoral Commission. This is still the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. Hafiz Tijani is back on the line. Hafiz, many thanks for joining us again. Hello, Hafiz.
Again, it's your agent's duty to make sure that you follow the electoral process. But I've not seen it, so I'm not in the position to either confirm or deny.
Are you okay with the security?
Yes, like I indicated, the police service have done a human's job, and as you can tell, it's very calm and very peaceful around here.
Okay, so that's Justin Kodia, who is the Ashanti, who is the national secretary of the general secretary of the NDC, who has been speaking about some observations he made while touring some of the centers so far.
Hafiz, we lost you momentarily before you came back on the line. Now, tell us what exactly Justin Kodia told you about his monitoring.
Well, he has been speaking about, he says he's satisfied with the process so far. He also said that he's okay with the security that have been beefed up at the various polling centers, except that he's concerned about the voter turnout. He says it's not so encouraging at some of the centers he went to. And he has come here at the Oyoko Methodist Polling Center, and he says that he's not so impressed about the numbers he's seeing across some of the polling centers he visited. I also put to him a question about whether he has had any concern in terms of the signing of the pink sheet. He said that has not come to his notice. I put that question to him about the concern the NDC raised. He says that that boils down to the training of polling agents before this day, an election day. So he says that the NDC should have trained their agents well so that they don't allow them to sign. But he said he's still monitoring, and if there are concerns, they would relay to the appropriate quarters for redress.
Now, per your monitoring, how is security like? We understand it has been intensified. How many police officers are on the ground, and are there calls that might necessitate the reinforcement?
Well, the deployment that has been done, we have stationed police officers at the various centers, and you also have police officers who are in their pickups, armed police officers for that matter, and they are going around the polling centers. So they go from one polling station to the other to augment the numbers that they have at the various areas. And you have officers also on motorbikes who are doing the community visibility patrols within the areas that the vehicles are not able to reach. You know, the roads here are not so good, so the police is using the motorbike also to complement its efforts in the patrolling of the communities and the other voting centers. So the police is not only patrolling where the polling centers or the polling stations are designated. They are also patrolling other areas within the community across the constituency, because the election is happening across the constituency. So they have beefed up security at all the communities within the Kumewu constituency.
Now, Mr. Kodia mentioned about the low turnout at the various polling centers. What could possibly be the reasons for the low turnout per what you have witnessed in the constituency so far?
Well, so people, when I went to Bangkok this morning, I was told it was market day at Bangkok. And at Bangkok, they have about 4 polling stations. So one might say people would want to go and perform their daily duties before going to vote. And some others who want to turn up very fast or early at the various centers to cast their vote before going to their various workplaces or the market or the farms. But I have seen people who had returned from the farm and pass by the voting centers to cast their ballot before proceeding home. So it's not so clear about why the numbers are low in some of these communities. But we are still monitoring to see if something will change as the voting continues.
Very well, grateful for your time. We'll come back to you subsequently when you have more from Kumewu, where voting is currently underway across some over 70 polling stations in that by-election in that constituency. This is still the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. Still to come, power restored to the St. Anne's Hospital at Damongo in the Savannah region following an intervention by the Member of Parliament for the area.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
The international football season has just reached fever pitch, and GoTV will be right there for it all. So get settled into your living room stadium, because you are coming with us to the epic finales of the Premier League, Serie A, La Liga, Europa League, FA Cup, and more. All you have to do is get and stay connected to GoTV, where all the big games keep coming.
Points of world-class difference.
GoTV, love it.
No one stops that.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Yeah, welcome back. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission says it is withdrawing the payment of allowances to some staff of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, GBC. The commission says the over 2 million cedis paid as allowances were underserving and must be refunded. Management of GBC has told the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission not to cease the payment of these allowances until a final determination of the matter. But the CEO of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Benjamin Arthur, says the commission will do what is right.
The action that has been taken is the right course. These are unapproved allowances. It's never been negotiated since the single spine. It has always been consolidated. They never existed. GBC has 4 non-core allowances. And these are allowances meant for people who are in the category 4. When we say category 4, it is directors and above. And the people who have been affected are nowhere near directorship. That we have a laborer who is also taking domestic servant cleaner allowance. These are allowances given to category 4 officers. Domestic servant cook allowance for 3 staff. Then domestic servant watchman, 60 staff. All these staff are below directors. And then housing, 8. Entertainment, 61. Utility for 59. And then we are paying rent allowance for 739 staff who are below the rank of directors. And interestingly, if you find out that, I have all the details here, you will find a principal who is taking it, and all other principals are not taking it. So the question is, what is so peculiar with that specific principal? We had written to them far earlier, asked them to take, and it was our expectation that per the list and all the details, you can imagine, we gave the detailed staff numbers, every detail of every single individual affected. We gave it to them so that they could engage them. But they decided to give us a feedback that suggested that there was no need to even embark on such an action.
That was the Chief Executive of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Benjamin Arthur.
Meanwhile, the Divisional Union Chairman at the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, Samuel Nat Kevo, has charged the management of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to rescind its decision to withdraw some allowances of their staff. Samuel Nat Kevo, who questioned how the CEO of the commission came to the unilateral conclusion that workers are not entitled to the allowances, lamented that the cut will affect their survival.
The Fair Wages and Salary Commission has gotten it wrong. Granted that it has a concern about those allowances, the labor law says since bargaining certificate is for the organized labor, it has to come back to the drawing board for a renegotiation or reversal. Until then, you cannot unilaterally and illegally cancel those allowances.
Therefore, Adam must go.
Yes. In conclusion, we are asking that the Fair Wages and that for matter appointing authority to help him reverse the decision. We want a united, peaceful industrial atmosphere in GBC. and failure to that, we will use all legal means, including strike. The rest is a strategy. We're not communicating. We are by this notice serving the appointing authority and our management that if we receive May salary and these are not reflected, GBC workers will do the needful.
Samuel Nat Kevo is the Divisional Union Chairman of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, GBC.
Now, the Pensioner Bondholders Forum has hinted of another intended picketing from May 29 at the Finance Ministry to demand the payment of matured coupons. According to the group, the Finance Ministry is yet to pay matured coupons on May 15 and subsequent maturities. Members of the forum suspended its picketing on May 12 after it had a meeting with the Finance Ministry to have all outstanding coupons paid. However, after weeks of waiting to engage with the ministry to draw a road map on payment, the pensioner bondholders say nothing has been heard. Speaking to Citi News, convener of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum, Dr. Edu Anani Enchi, says members of the group will be back at the ministry on Monday.
For the principals, government wanted us to keep on to meet again on it and decide on what to do, how government is going to pay. So based on this, we decided to suspend the picketing and give the whole week for government to do that. The whole week, government started paying the coupons, but it paid up to the 8th May, left the 15th May one hanging, even though the agreement was, the understanding was that we were going to pay up to the 15th one. So the 15th one wasn't paid, and government didn't tell us anything. And then we also wrote to government that week we should be able to meet and take a decision on the payment of the principal, which has been due at that time. It was getting to three, some of them, the first one getting to 3 months, and that we should conclude discussion on that before Friday, which was 19th. We didn't hear anything from the government, even though we have written to government. We didn't hear anything from government, and government didn't call us for that meeting. Yesterday, we realized that another coupon has also matured. If government doesn't do it this time around, we were saying that when we resume the picketing, we are not going to listen to anything. We are not going to listen to any promises. We are not going to listen to any assurances whatsoever. All that we will be hoping for to see is the payment. When the payment is done, we leave the picketing grounds. If the payment is not done, we will keep on picketing and we will not listen to any promises or assurance because we have had enough.
Convener of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum, Dr. Edu Anani Enchi.
Let's take you to the Western region now, because the over 70 High Court jurors in that part of the country say they will not call off their 3-week strike until government pays all outstanding allowances. The jurors, who have been on strike since May 2, say all efforts to get Government and Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana to respond to their concerns have proven futile. The jurors are demanding a 13-month allowance, which has been in arrears since February 2022. Here's one of the leaders of the jurors in 2nd D, Jonathan Ofori Kanora.
We started the strike on the 2nd of May. We've written to the Judicial Service, Judicial Secretary, the State Attorney's Attorney General Department, the Chief Justice, the Registrar of the Secondary High Court. And as I'm speaking to you, we haven't had any official information or any engagement from government or the Judicial Service. Our concern is that we have not been paid our allowances from February 2022 up to about 13 months. We have not been paid our allowance. So until we get our allowances, we are not returning to court. We are not going. But the only information or the correspondence that we had during last week was that we should supply our banking details, our bank account and other whatever. We have provided all of them to them. As I speak to you, all of us, about 75 of us, we have all submitted our bank details. They requested for the bank, they didn't tell us anything. We have submitted it duly, so we are waiting for them. We are still on strike indefinitely. We are expecting at least an official engagement from the Chief Justice or the Judicial Secretary or the Registrar. We are working on it. Up to now, we haven't had anything from anybody. Until last week, when they called us that we should supply our bank details. We have provided them with our bank details, but we haven't had any official engagement from the government or the authorities.
So you heard there Jonathan Oforikana, who is the leader for some 70 High Court jurors at Sekondi in the Western region.
Now, power has been restored at the St. Anne's Hospital in Damongo in the Savannah region following an intervention by the Member of Parliament for the area, Samuel Abdullahi Jinapo. Power was cut to the facility by NEDCO over 4 million cedi debt. Following Citi News reports on the death of 2 babies and others in critical condition at the hospital over the power cut, the MP made some payment to ensure the facility is reconnected. The head of communications and clinical coordinator at the hospital, Dr. Bedese Ahmed, tells Citi News some internal measures are being put in place to ensure the hospital is not disconnected again.
So for now, we have been reconnected, but negotiations are still ongoing. And I cannot say we have been reconnected forever because certain conditions are yet to be met. The first negotiations that were done, we were required to make a deposit so that negotiations can continue. So that first requirement has just been made. To be honest, I cannot confirm the exact amount that has been paid, but I was told, reliably informed, that it's a good sum of money. Now there are 2 options. Either we still let it be the responsibility of Ministry of Health, and that by extension, that's the government, or we find a way to pay it. So it means that will be factored into the fees of the patient. So that's another alternative. But as I speak now, we haven't decided yet which of them to pursue. But these are the 2 options on the table.
Okay. So to your many clients out there who thought that the hospital was not working again, what do you have to tell them?
So my message to our clients, our prospective clients, is that we have been reconnected. There is power, and every sector of the hospital is running smoothly. As I speak to you right now, in the next 10 minutes, I'll be entering the theater to do a cesarean session for the patient. So they can come. They can come. We are working fully. My message to the general public with respect to our blood bank is that we have run out of blood as we speak. So we are encouraging people, regular donors, to come and help us get some blood. And those other people who have not never donated, they can come on board and then help us at least get more units at the blood bank. Because as we speak, we've run out of blood.
Dr. Bedese Ahmed is the head of communications and clinical coordinator at the St. Anne's Hospital at Damongo in the Savannah region. Let's go live to the Savannah region and speak to my colleague, Richard Fogo. Good afternoon to you, Richard. Many thanks for your time. Now, this must be some sort of relief for residents of Damongo.
Exactly so. It's a big relief for residents of Damongo that the power has been reconnected to the hospital. It is the major hospital in the whole of the capital of the Savannah region, which is West Gunja. When I was there this morning, the ANC was nearly full because the hospital is back in full operations. I met the doctor. He had just left the maternity ward and was going into the theater to perform an ANC for an expectant mother. And so it's a major relief for residents of Damongo and communities around Damongo that this hospital is back functioning in full capacity. Though most of the wards are still empty because the hospital started operations today. I entered the children ward, it was empty. The male ward was empty. But the OPD, people have started trooping in, and maybe in the coming days, everything will be back to normal at the hospital.
They mentioned that they do not have enough blood and that they're appealing to donors to help in giving or making themselves available to help them get enough blood. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, as you recall, yesterday when I engaged the doctors at the hospital, they indicated that they lost 2 babies because the blood bank was not functioning. The blood they had at the bank went bad, so they had to dispose of them because there was no power for them to be able to keep the blood safe.
So power was restored yesterday. At the time, the blood bank was empty and it's still empty. And so today, the CS that the doctor had to do, they had to get family members of the pregnant woman to test for blood compatibility to be able to get blood to perform the CS. So the blood bank is empty. And so they are appealing to residents of Damongo and beyond and anybody that is willing to make themselves available to the hospital and donate some blood for them to restock to be able to save lives of patients that visit the hospital that will be needing blood transfusion.
Now, he mentioned some internal measures the hospital might be taking to ensure they do not have this connection again. Tell us more. Exactly how do they intend to get these monies so that the NEDCO people in that particular area may not disconnect part of the facility again?
Yeah, he told me that they are negotiating with government because in the past, government has barred them from billing patients with electricity bills. So they don't charge that. And so this bill that has accumulated, government did not pay since 2012, and they also have suffered this fate. Now, the member of parliament has come to intervene, paid a bit of it, and so power has been restored, but they need to continue making payments. So it's either government makes due its commitment to making the payment on behalf of the hospital, or the hospital will have to find ways of making sure that at least every month they pay something, which means they will have to pass on that bill to clients that visit the hospital. Now, I'm not too sure whether NHIS pays electricity bills, but if NHIS does not cover electricity bills, what that means is that patients will have to pay that cash and carry when they visit the hospital for any service, so that the hospital will then gather that amount of money monthly and continue to pay NEDCO so they don't get themselves redisconnected again. So that would be a major worry for patients around here. If government does not come in, what it means is that accessing healthcare at this major facility will become more expensive for clients that visit. And whether the patients can afford that is a question yet to be answered.
Most grateful for your time. Richard Fogo is my colleague in the Savannah region. In the Savannah region, the news is that power has been restored to the St. Anne's Hospital in Damongo following an intervention by the Member of Parliament for the area, Samuel Abdullahi Jinapo. Let's still stay up north because the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NEDCO, has arrested some 321 people in the Upper East region for power theft. The customers are reported to have tampered with their meters as others had directly connected to the grid without engaging the services of NEDCO officers. The arrests were made during the ongoing revenue mobilization by the company. Providing an update on the arrest, the Billing and Revenue Protection Officer at NEDCO, William Asari, says 102 persons have paid their fines and have been reconnected.
We have disconnected their power supply. We give you the option to settle the charges because we are really interested in retrieving the power used illegally. So we give you the option to settle the estimated charges. If you settle it and you have business with us, we restore power. If you settle it and you don't have business with us, we take you through our new service procedure. You have to buy an application form and go through the process. So out of the 321, as of today, 23rd May 2023, 102 have paid the illegal charges given to them, and they have been reconnected. We will follow up with those who have failed to turn up to see whether they have found ways to connect the power back. Then we will compile the list and submit it to our legal department in Tamale, where they will process them through the court system. You know, illegal connection is a crime, so they will file the criminal summons, invite the customers, and then we will make our case and expect that the courts will listen to us and apply the appropriate sanctions against the culprits. We always advise our customers, if you are tampering with our network, that is wrong, that is illegal, and once you are caught, we will take you through due process. We urge anybody who has any issue, whether it's a service request, come to our office, go through the process. If you are unsatisfied with our service, you can escalate it to the management at the regional level, take a complaint there. The Public Utility Regulatory Commission is here. if you are satisfied with any request of our service, you can also go to them as a neutral arbiter and make your case there. So there's no reason for anybody to involve in illegal connection.
William Asari is the Billing and Revenue Protection Officer for NEDCO in the Upper East region.
Now, the Volta Regional Office of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, has begun turning away customers who seek to pay with cash at their service centres. This follows a national directive to operate a cashless system across the ECG offices in the country. Some customers say it will take time to adjust to the new system, but remain hopeful it will become a more convenient way of buying power. The Volta Regional PRO of the company, Benjamin Obeng Entry, tells Citi News the process has so far been smooth.
Prior to this app or prior to the announcement of the ECG Power, you realize that customers have to travel far and near to come and transact business with ECG. But with this app, customers can sit from the comfort of their home. They can be anywhere, anytime, and then pay their bills, and then they will receive feedback as well. So it's a real-time transaction. Once you pay, you receive a notification from ECG that you have paid. Imagine a customer moving all the way from Petoe to Ho, or from Ziavi to Ho, or from Avedakpa to Denu to go and pay bill. The distance is always more than 1 hour. But with this system, the customer can sit from the comfort of the home, or even visit the nearest home vendor, load the wallet, and then go through the process through the ECG Power. For customers using the smart prepaid meters in the Volta region, i.e. Ho and Hohoe district, these customers, once power goes off, they don't even need to come to the ECG office. They can sit there from the comfort of their home and then recharge their meter by going through the process after dialing *226# or going through the process after downloading the ECG Power. So everything that we are doing, in fact, this is one of the many projects we are doing to enhance efficiency in ECG and also provide convenience for our customers, because our customers are always at the heart of everything that we do. Without our customers, we are not in business. So we aim to provide convenience for our customers. If you can sit from the comfort of your home and then pay bill.
So you heard there the Volta Regional PRO of the ECG, Benjamin Obeng Entry, speaking there. Now, the Chief of Staff, Akosua Frema Opariose, has written to Parliament to determine the emolument and end-of-service benefits for some 134 MMDCEs who served between 2017 and 2021. The MMDCEs who are protesting the non-payment of their benefits say they will picket at the premises of the Jubilee House if their demands are not met. Already, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Dan Botwe, has met Parliament over the matter. The former MMDCEs have in a letter pleaded with the President to fast-track the payment of the end-of-service benefit. Here are excerpts of the letter read to you by Citi News' Caleb Kuda.
Mr. President, with the greatest respects, we, the immediate past MMDCEs who served your government in your first term, wish to express our concern about the payment of our end-of-service benefits ex gratia. Your Excellency, as MMDCEs who served you faithfully and worked tirelessly to ensure your re-election to continue to govern the country with your pragmatic vision, programs, plans and policies to deliver prosperity and progress for Ghana, have not yet been paid our ex gratia. Very unfortunately, there is no communication to that effect to assure us about the payment. Mr. President, we are aware that we are also part of Article 71 office holders who have long since been paid the end-of-service benefit ex gratia, excluding the MMDCEs. Your Excellency, we are worried about the situation and respectfully wish to draw your highest attention. Mr. President, it is worthy to note that some of us contested the 2020 general elections as parliamentary candidates, but unfortunately, we lost. We were also not renominated to serve this second term with you. Your Excellency, considering our support for the 2020 campaign, as well as those of us who contested and raised funds for our campaign, we humbly call for your highest intervention to enable us receive our end-of-service benefits ex gratia. Mr. President, some of us still harbor the ambition to contest the 2024 general elections as parliamentary candidates to render our full support to the national campaign efforts. Your Excellency, we once again respectfully crave your highest consideration of this concern to enable us survive, care for our families, and also participate vigorously in the 2024 elections to break the 8th-year cycle. Mr. President, we humbly submit our concerns for your highest attention and consideration. We humbly anticipate your fatherly support for our plea.
So you have the excerpts of a letter by the Chief of Staff, Akusia Fremo Seopare, read to you by Caleb Kuda.
This is still the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. Still to come, Hull Teaching Hospital dispels spiritual beliefs about neonatal jaundice and urges early treatment following an increase in reported cases. We have details of that, plus others coming up shortly.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Citi TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on channel 363. On GoTV, we're on channel 117, and on HD+, get us on channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search, but take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV. Citi TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and HD+ boxes. Citi TV, it's your world.
1xBet. Easy betting, easy winning. 1xBet, reliable bookmaker that offers you a huge range of bonuses, great odds, and many chances to win. Register now on 1xBet.com.gh and use promo code PLAY1 to get 300% bonus up to 3,445 Ghana cedis on your first deposit. 1xBet gives you more. Gambling can be addictive. Bet responsibly. Not for person under 18 years. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Now, following reported increase in neonatal jaundice amongst newborn babies in the Volta region, the Pediatric and Children Department of the Hull Teaching Hospital is urging parents to seek early treatment to prevent complications. Health workers in the region want parents to discard the notion that the condition is spiritually influenced and rather seek early medical intervention. Citi News' Desmond Selassie Ago has more in this report.
Evidence from recent data reveals an increase in the incidence of jaundice in newborn babies in the Volta region. A total of 720 cases were reported in 2019, 879 cases in 2020, 997 and 1,238 cases reported in 2021 and 2022 respectively. Newborn jaundice affects a staggering number of infants worldwide each year, with approximately 6 out of 10 term babies and 8 out of 10 preterm babies developing jaundice. Cases recorded at the Hull Teaching Hospital are often brought at an advanced stage because parents attribute such ailments to superstition. Speaking to Citi News at the launch of the Newborn Jaundice Awareness Month in Hull, Head of Pediatric in charge of South BMC at the Hull Teaching Hospital, Dr. Bryce Richard Daniel called for increased awareness to prevent the increasing number of deaths and disability relating to newborn jaundice.
Means that these children are not able to walk, they are not able to grow intelligently as they want, they are not able to speak, and they are also not able to hear. But of course, it can also lead to death of these children. And this is the reason why we are talking about newborn jaundice. Now, each year, the Pediatric Society sets up this month to talk about newborn jaundice and make people aware about newborn jaundice. The theme for this year is that we are spotting the yellow, and then we are stopping death and then disability. And here in Volta region, newborn jaundice forms about a quarter of admissions of all children below the age of 28 days. And then, of course, it is associated with a lot of diseases, a lot of complications. Now, one of the main reasons we are having this advocacy done is that if you take all deaths among newborns in the first 28 days of life, jaundice alone is contributing to close to about 10% of the deaths among newborns. And this is just the deaths. If you talk about people dealing with disability, the problems of disability are lifelong. Some parents have to stop their work, others have to always be on the move to the hospital all the time just to take care of these children. So it's not just the immediate problems that these mothers or children have, but if they survive it, the disability that it comes with is enormous. So we are talking about newborn jaundice. We are saying that babies with jaundice shouldn't die. When we see the jaundice, we should report it. And we are urging the general public to be jaundice policemen, policewomen, soldier men, soldier women, people of the law, and drive jaundice away. If you go visit any mother, new mother, look at the eyes of the baby, look at the skin of the baby, and let this mother report to the hospital with the child with jaundice.
In a Citi News interview, specialist pediatrician for Child Health Department at the Whole Teaching Hospital, Dr. Selam Shakasu, said the department has over the years faced several challenges in managing such cases. He admits the department needs more resources to be able to deliver efficiently.
We face several challenges, mainly it's logistics and resources, because to take care of jaundice in the newborn, you need what we call the phototherapy unit, and we have a very low amount in our unit. Currently, the quantity we have is about 6, which is not enough. Looking at the trend of admission rates in terms of neonatal jaundice, we are under stress in terms of managing these babies. So that's the main problem we have.
Dr. Shakasu says the department has embarked on a coordinated awareness question amongst parents who attribute the ailment to superstition, so to prevent the resultant deaths, which he describes as needless.
Some people believe that jaundice is due to superstitious beliefs, like it's the fault of the mother, a curse from the gods, and so some of them end up either throwing the babies away because they are afraid this is a curse, and to deal with the curse is throw the baby away, or they resort to certain practices that harm the baby's health and even cause them to die. So we as part of our campaign, we are trying to ensure that the public, go away from those practices, because we believe jaundice is curable. Yes. So if you detect it and you come early, the right interventions will help the baby survive and live a normal life like every other person.
The pediatric department of the Whole Teaching Hospital is urging parents to seek early health intervention for their babies to prevent jaundice amongst them. They, however, say the unit or department is under-resourced to manage such cases. Reporting for Citi News from Ho, I'm Desmond Selasiago.
In more stories, Ghana can expect the next tranche of the $3 billion IMF bailout come November, but the disbursement will only be done after a successful review of Ghana's ability to meet the conditionalities of the fund. This is according to the IMF resident representative in Ghana, Dr. Leandro Medina. Ghana secured the first tranche of the balance of payment support this month, worth $604 million. In an interview with Bernard Avler, Dr. Medina threw more light on the timelines and milestone expected to be achieved.
In terms of the timeline and what's next, this is a program that is designed to have reviews every 6 months. Which means that every 6 months we are expected to go to our IMF Executive Board for approval of a review, and that would unlock a disbursement. In terms of the next steps, the next review is expected to be completed in November this year.
I see. So this November will be where we would know if we'll get another tranche of the $3 billion. So after the review in November, you know if you qualify for the next tranche.
I would say that once we take a review to the board and the board approves, that immediately triggers a disbursement.
Yeah. But do we know how the breakdown? So it's 600 million.
Correct.
And then it becomes 360 to the end.
Correct.
That's how it's supposed to be done. I see. Now, are there specific milestones tied to the timelines in terms of what do they need to see in November to approve the next tranche?
So the November review will be approved based on a test date that is end of June. So ultimately, all the conditionality and everything that you look at is going to be measured at end June. And this is what needs to be looked at to be able to go to the board in November.
Now, with 18 months to the 2024 general elections, Dr. Leandro Medina says he is confident the program will be implemented as designed.
So I can tell you that we are quite confident on the strength of the program, and also we are confident that it will be implemented as designed, and this is because the actions are what is needed, right? Is to restore a macroeconomic situation, to ensure that debt is back to a sustainable path, that we really have higher and more inclusive growth. And if you see, Ghanaians are really eager to see inflation go down, to see that the management of the fiscal account has improved, and to see more opportunities and much more growth. And I have to tell you, we have seen a very strong commitment from authorities that have really taken bold and very difficult policy actions.
Aren't you front-loading the fiscal adjustment because of this particular point, in the sense that in election years, people want the government to spend. There's pressure for roads. Governments will spend money to win votes. We do know this. It's not just a Ghana situation, right? So when you front-load, so sort of we've had a very difficult debt exchange, right? So is it that you are trying to do the difficult things in 2023, so you create space for them in 2024, for the election?
The way the program was designed is to deal with the crisis and to put a strong foundation, right, for the future. So these were the main motives, if you want, for a design like this. It's because it was needed, and from the get-go, 2023, it looked like a very, very difficult year.
I just want to understand if
Dr. Leandro Medina is the IMF resident representative in Ghana.
Now, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPLTU, has announced a meeting between all transport operators in the country to deliberate on the recent 10% reduction in fares. The reduction in fares has been met with stiff opposition from transport owners who say spare parts and others still remain same, hence can't reduce the fares. Speaking to Citi News, the Industrial Relations Officer for GPLTU, Abbas Imoro, says there will be a conclusion on the matter after today's meeting.
Give us up to 2 o'clock today, by which time we'll be in the position to clear all other. We are having some inches, we are having problems surrounding the reduction of the lorry fares, by which time we'll be in a very good position to clear everything and come out with whatever final decision we've taken. So we'll plead with the general public to give us this small time. GPRT undisputedly, everybody, even the angels know we are the leading transport operators in the country. So that's what people say. Even when a driver who does not belong to us misbehaved, they say, here he is, a GPR2 member. But we accept it because Pepsodent in Ghana is presumed to be the best toothpaste we have here. Meanwhile, we have Colgate, other toothpaste around it. So after which time we will definitely, by the close of the day, come out with our final decision.
Abbas Imoro is the Industrial Relations Officer for the Ghana Private Road Transport Union. And that's how we end today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studios in Adabraka, Accra. The news was live on all affiliates across the 16 regions of the country. Western region, Ajunpa FM 100.7 in Tekwa, Beach FM 105.5 in Tekrade, Bono region, Greener FM in Sunyani, Ashanti region, Ajunpa FM in Carrier, Volta region, Heritage FM in Hohoi, Freedom FM in Sugakope, Northern region, Radio Gaki in Saboba, Upper East, Quality FM in Garu, and Northeast region, we're live on Nobia FM in Nalerigo. Please log on to citynewsroom.com for more stories. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa, and I was here with
Kweku Ediamansa,
Netele Neti Ajaho.